Okay, let's unpack this. We've got well, a pretty dense stack of residential real estate stats here.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest.
And it's super specific. We're looking at a snapshot of the D.C. metro area, October 2025 data.
That's right.
And it's not just anywhere, right? It's a focused comparison. Charles and Montgomery counties in Maryland, D.C., proper Washington County, and then the big Virginia three, Fairfax, Loudoun, and Prince William.
Exactly. And our mission today really is to give you the shortcut, to, synthesize these market reports.
Go beyond just the raw numbers.
Precisely. We want to understand the key dynamics, because the thing about the D.C. area is that these 6 places, they feel close geographically, but economically, they can be worlds apart.
Different realities.
Totally. So we need to look at where the money's moving, how fast homes are actually selling, and what the inventory balance tells us. Is it a buyer's market, seller's control? It varies a lot across these regions.
Makes sense. I think the best place to start has to be the price, right?
Yeah.
That's always the headline grabber. When you look at the D.C. area, that market diversity, it just jumps right out at you in the cost of entry. So let's dive into that. The price landscape. We're focusing on median sold price, October 2025.
And what hits you first is how Northern Virginia really sets the financial ceiling for this whole group.
Yeah.
If you look right at the top, Fairfax County, Virginia, they had the highest median sold price for the month. Came in at $745,755.
Wow, okay. And Loudoun County wasn't far behind, I see. It looks like it was practically tied.
Almost identical. $742,000 median sold price in Loudoun. Just a hair's breadth away.
So those two really define that premium high-demand slice of the market we're comparing here.
No question. Then Washington County, D.C., it slots into a strong third place purely on price. Median sold price there was $675,000.
Okay, so still very expensive, but suggests maybe the bulk of sales volume is just a bit below those Fairfax Loudoun numbers.
That's a good way to put it. Now, crossing over to Maryland, Montgomery County, that represents a really solid, high-value middle tier here.
What was the number there?
$625,000 was the median sold price. Still a hefty price tag, obviously, but, a noticeable step down from those top Virginia counties.
Right. So if we're starting to look for where it gets maybe a little more accessible price-wise.
Then you look south a bit in Virginia first. Prince William County comes in next at $580,000.
Okay, $580K a day. And then the real affordability outlier in this whole group seems to be Charles County, Maryland.
By a significant margin, their median sold price was $440,000.
$440.
Yeah. And the sheer size of that difference is what's really interesting. You've got Fairfax near $746,000 at the top.
And Charles County at $440,000, providing that entry point.
That gap, over $305,000 in the median price. It represents 2 completely different economic realities, like we said, but they're operating within the same metro job market.
It really speaks volumes about the trade-offs people are making, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Commute time versus house size, maybe schools, amenities.
All of it.
So we've mapped out where the money's concentrated, but price alone doesn't tell us about market intensity, right? Does that high Fairfax price mean buyers are hesitating, or are they scrambling?
Exactly. Price is just one snapshot. We need to look at the velocity. How fast is that money actually moving?
Okay.
So let's pivot to what we're calling the heat index. We're looking at speed and volume here. So how many deals actually closed, units sold, and how long did they take the days on market or DOM?
Got it. And looking at just the raw number of transactions, Fairfax wasn't just the priciest, it was also the busiest.
By far. Led the whole group with 987 units sold in October 2025.
Almost 1,000 homes. That's massive volume, especially at that high price point.
It is. And interestingly, Montgomery County in Maryland was the runner-up for volume. They recorded 805 units sold.
Okay, so that mid to high Maryland price point, it still has substantial activity.
Absolutely. Lots of depth there. And then on the flip side, Charles County, which we noted had the lowest median cut, also had the lowest overall activity, just 171 units sold.
Lower price, but seems like much lower buyer traffic there.
Correct. Now, let's get to that critical measure of market heat. Average days on market. DOM. This is the speed test.
Lower number means faster sales, more buyer urgency.
You got it. And the fastest market in this whole comparison, it was Prince William County, Virginia.
Really? Even though it wasn't the most expensive?
Yeah, clocked in with the lowest DOM at a really speedy 25 days.
25 days.
When you think about their median price being $580,000, that quick turnaround suggests really intense buyer action, probably buyers who are priced out of those 700 plus markets flocking there.
That's a great insight. Affordability driving fierce competition. Blink and you miss the house.
Pretty much. And the other Northern Virginia heavyweights, they kept up that breakneck pace too. Fairfax had a DOM of 27 days,
Okay.
and Loudoun was right there at 29 days. So across the board in Novi, fiercely competitive timelines regardless of the price.
Makes sense. But where did things slow down? Where were homes sitting longer?
Well, the clear anomaly, the place where homes lingered the most, was Washington County, D.C.
D.C. itself, how long?
Average DOM of 51 days.
51. Wait a minute. That seems really high for a major city center that still commands a $675,000 median price.
It is. It's basically twice as long as Prince William.
The speed difference there.
Yeah.
25 days versus 51 days feels way bigger than their price difference,
Yeah.
580K versus 675K. What's behind that huge gap in market speed?
It strongly suggests that while DC's price point is high, the overall buyer demand is maybe softer, or perhaps just more selective compared to that Virginia core.
Interesting.
Charles County was also relatively slow, 38 days DOM. But yeah, the key comparison is DC, high price, low speed. If you're a buyer in DC, you likely have more time, maybe more negotiation leverage than you would in Northern Virginia.
Okay, so speed tells us about the current buyer frenzy or lack thereof. But the underlying factor driving that speed has to be inventory, right?
Exactly. Which brings us to our third layer here, market balance. And for this, we're looking at the month's supply of inventory, or MSI.
And remind us, anything below 4 months generally signals a strong seller's market.
That's the benchmark, yeah. And this is where the story for Northern Virginia just becomes crystal clear.
Oh, so?
They aren't just expensive and fast, they are like bone dry on inventory. The MSI numbers are incredibly low. Loudoun County had the tightest market in the entire region, just 2.1 MSI.
2.1. So that means even if 0 new homes came on the market, everything listed now would sell in just over 2 months.
That's what it implies, an intense seller's advantage.
Wow.
And Fairfax County at 2.2 MSI and Prince William County, 2.3 MSI, they were right behind. It confirms these 3 Virginia spots are just locked in this highly competitive low inventory cycle.
Okay, and Montgomery County.
Montgomery settled into a slightly more balanced position, but still definitely seller favorable, 3.0 MSI. Still tight.
All right, now we have to come back to D.C., our inventory outlier. What was the MSI there?
Washington County, D.C. had a staggering month's supply of inventory of 7.3.
7.3.
Yes.
Okay, that explains the slow speed then.
It connects directly back to that 51 days on market we talked about. If it would theoretically take over 7 months to sell everything currently listed, the market is clearly, flooded compared to its neighbors.
That 7.3 MSI is just huge, especially when you put it next to Loudoun's 2.1.
It's a massive contrast.
So in Loudoun, you've got a drought. Bidding wars are probably common. In D.C., buyers have way more choices, potentially significant leverage. That difference in market condition. That feels like the biggest takeaway here.
I think it is. And we can actually see this inventory buildup happening over the past year in the source data, which helps explain that 7.3 number now.
Oh, yeah. How? Well, take D.C., for example. The number of active listings, the current inventory, it grew from about 2,877 units back in November 2024 to nearly 3,300 units, 3,269 in November 2025.
So more houses sitting around.
Right. And it's not just the number of units. The total dollar volume represented by that inventory also jumped significantly. Went from about $2.5 billion to $2.8 billion. Meaning the market isn't just holding more homes, it's holding more expensive homes that aren't moving as fast.
That seems to be the case.
And that inventory growth, that's a key sign of where pressure might be easing off a bit, even in the tighter markets, right?
Yeah.
I see Fairfax saw a jump too.
It did, yeah. Fairfax County's inventory went from just under 1,300 units in November 24 up to over 2,100 units in November 25.
That's a big increase.
It is. Now, their MSI is still incredibly low at 2.2, so things are still selling fast. But just the fact that more properties are available year over year, that's a trend to keep an eye on.
More homes are hitting the market, even if they're getting snapped up quickly.
Exactly. The supply side is trying to respond, perhaps.
Okay, so let's try to pull this all together. Synthesize this deep dive across price, speed, and inventory. The main story seems dominated by Northern Virginia.
I'd agree.
Fairfax and Loudoun have the top prices, think 745K, 742K. But they also have these incredibly tight, almost frantic inventory levels. MSI is around 2.1, 2.2. They're hot, expensive, and fast.
Then you have Prince William County offering the fastest market speed, just 25 days on market, but at a relatively more accessible Virginia price point. That 580K shows how affordability creates the fiercest competition.
Right. And then Washington, D.C. It just stands completely alone as the outlier here.
Mm-hmm.
Maintains that high median price, $675,000,
Mm-hmm.
yet it's showing all the signs of a buyer's market. Highest inventory at 7.3 MSI, slowest sales speed at 51 days.
Which leaves us with a really critical question, doesn't it? Something that kind of defines the puzzle of the DC market right now.
What's that?
Based on everything we've looked at, how does Washington County, D.C. actually manage to keep that high median sold price, 675K, when it also has these really strong signs of a slow, high inventory buyer's market?
Yeah, the data seems to point in two different directions. High inventory and slow sales usually push prices down, but DC seems to be resisting that pressure somehow.
It implies that there must be specific high-value slices of the market driving that median price up. Maybe it's, perfectly renovated single-family homes in super desirable neighborhoods, or perhaps the ultra-luxury condo market.
So even if lots of inventory is just sitting there, the properties that do sell are selling at a premium, pulling the median up.
That's what the numbers suggest. So the question for you, the listener, to think about is, what specific property types or maybe even micro neighborhoods within DC are managing to bypass that overall inventory glut and sluggishness to keep those prices so elevated? What's bucking the trend?